Hi. Good to be on this side. I'm usually the one watching.
Oh,
Now
okay.
on the live stream.
That's good to know that you watch, so you know you're very aware of the format, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am.
So this is Ayush Tiwari. Ayush, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm a reporter with Scroll. Just finished 7 long years in journalism. Feels much longer under this regime. But before this, I was at News Laundry, where Megnath and I worked. We were colleagues. And lately, I've been covering, since the last Lok Sabha election, covering election integrity. So a lot of what you hear about on this channel is also something I report on.
Yes, and also I know Ayush since he was a baby reporter. I literally know when he came into the profession, I was there. So it's good to know. And recently, Ayush, you have gone to Bihar. Like I think you just came back from Bihar, and you've been putting out a series on Scroll, which will show up on your screen right now. You have put out two parts of the investigative series on the ground reporting that you're doing. Please tell us about that first.
We have put out two reports, which are text reports, and we also have put out two videos, which because one of my colleagues, Aryan, who's a producer and a reporter, he came along, so we were able to shoot a lot of things. So we want to put out one more video, so three parts. But yeah, three videos, two text reports, and it's essentially looking into the exclusions that have happened because of the SIR in Bihar, to be particular, wrongful exclusions. People
Hmm.
who have been left out illegitimately for no reason. They are not dead, they have not shifted, they are not enrolled in multiple places. So that is what the work is about.
And you have gone on the ground, and I saw like in the second video you have gone to like very deep inside Bihar to do this, right? First impressions, what is going on in Bihar right now?
So, I mean, I was there just before Rahul Gandhi's yatra began, actually.
Okay.
So, this is between the first week of August, you can say, to the middle of August. And at that point, actually, there was not much of a momentum
Hmm.
on the ground. There was not much of a conversation about SIR. And that is, we found out because a lot of people who had been excluded did not know that they have been excluded.
Hmm.
So in on paper, the election commission has put out the draft roll, and you can see it on an app and you can see it on a website. But of course, that word has not gone down to the villages, to the towns, to the gullies and mohallas. तो लोगों को पता ही नहीं कि उनका नाम कट गया है.
Hmm.
A lot of villages, we were in a very strange situation where we were breaking the news to them that
Yeah, I saw that. Like you actually do that on video. I saw like this. In your second video. What struck me was that there is this old man who are just you are just telling them, looking up the name, and then कि आपका vote कट गया है. There is this look of devastation that comes on their face. It's actually very sad.
yeah, exactly. And among younger voters, थोड़ा सा contrast था. मतलब people were smarter, more savvy.
Hmm.
They knew that they had lost their vote and they were outraged about it. But it had not become, and I'm still not sure because now there's been a whole yatra around this, but कि वहाँ पे ग्राउंड पे ऐसा कुछ मोमेंटम नहीं था इसके खिलाफ,
Hmm.
क्योंकि अभी भी यू कैन स्टिल से कि अभी ड्राफ्ट रोल है. September 30th को final roll आएगा.
Hmm.
A lot of people will apply for inclusion, etc. will happen. Though the numbers are not great, I don't think of the 65 lakh deleted, only very small fraction seems to have applied again. But yeah, you can still only for now tentatively say that these people are out.
Okay.
So, or after Yatra, what has happened? It's hard to say.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, a lot of wrongful exclusions wherever we went, in village after village, especially if you were going to a village which had more Muslim voters or more Dalit voters.
But
They,
is that really happening, or is that just maybe a perception? Because honestly, like I mean, are they just selectively deleting people, or what is going on?
I think they don't have to selectively delete people. The system is such, the way bureaucracy functions is such, the, the socioeconomic reality is such that people who are most marginalized are, this is rigged against them. They will
Hmm.
not be able to sign a form and give it to the BLO, right? The BLO is paid like a measly amount, 500 rupees a
Hmm.
month, Now they've hiked it to 1,000. But what
Wait,
incentives do
1,000 rupees a month
yeah, exactly. And that
for
is
this work, this entire work?
for this entire work. And you
Oh
have to do
wait, I
this.
did not know the amount. Holy shit, that's very less.
It was 6,000, and then in after the SIR, they hiked it to 12,000 a year. That is,
Okay,
so, and you have to do this BLO duty while you are doing your main job. So a lot of people are school teachers,
correct, correct.
आंगनबाड़ी workers. तो उसमें क्या ही इंसेंटिव था लोगों के पास? तो उन गांव में जहाँ पे जागरूकता नहीं है, लोगों के पास समाचार पाने का साधन नहीं है, तो वहाँ पे it was very clear that a lot of people did not know, were not able to submit their forms on time. The BLO did not do their jobs,
Hmm.
and then you go to the upper caste villages, you go to Thakur Brahmin villages, where this problem was entirely absent. Everyone had things had happened on a decent scale. They had been wrapped up, and there were assurances that if someone has been excluded wrongfully, then the government, the local official will look after you and make sure that you're back.
Hmm. Even in your video, one thing I saw was that I think one BLO was talking about how they didn't get Aadhaar card or required documents, but they mentioned the Aadhaar card. So, do you think Aadhaar is actually being accepted? I mean, did you see the Aadhaar being accepted as documents, as proof?
It's very localized. So because एक तो Bihar has 38 districts. अब हर districts में there are different Vidhan Sabha assembly constituencies, and the state has 243. So
Right.
and now in 243 different constituencies, it almost seems like there are 243 different realities. So कहीं पे
Oh.
they will say कि आधार दे दें आप, right?
Hmm.
कहीं पे they will say कि just give the form and get your name in the roll. कहीं पे they'll say give your form and proof of citizenship and then give your role. It's a big hodgepodge.
So
There is
you're
no.
saying the communication has not been exactly clear, maybe from the election commission side, or maybe the interpretation varies DM to DM.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe because as the SIR has gone on, there have been a lot of pressure on the ECI,
Hmm.
and there has been a lot of pressure on the NDA to make sure there are no mass exclusions. So, in the whole middle of this exercise, it's possible there be modifications have been made. That Aadhaar was not being accepted, that suddenly Aadhaar is accepted. Recently, we've seen there was a report in the Express that a section of Dalit voters seem to be moving from the NDA to the India Alliance before this election. And
Oh.
I think this is Liz Matthew in the Indian Express, and she's speaking to a BJP MP who's talking off record.
Hmm.
This is a BJP MP saying that a section of Dalit voters are moving to the India Alliance. And I noticed that in a lot of Dalit villages we went to, I mean, actually, the rule is that get them into the role even if they don't have proof of citizenship.
Correct, correct, correct. Yeah. But tell me, how bad is it? Like on a scale of, let's say, 1 to 10, but according to you, whatever scale you want to use, honestly, how bad is it? Because sitting here in Delhi, it looks pretty bad. I'll just run through the reasons. One is, of course, the lack of documentation, which you have explained. Now, today, the Supreme Court gave an order, finally, like decisively, that Aadhaar will be a 12th document. The second is this lack of communication, which you're talking about. Some BLOs are behaving very differently in one place versus the other. Based on whatever reports I have seen, it's almost like every BLO is just doing whatever they feel is right, and based on their load also. Internet connection is also another reason why different people are doing different things. And I feel like the third reason is I think a lack of knowledge in the voters also, to a large extent, where they're not able to understand what is going on, because it's so confusing. You have voted for like the past 4 years, and four elections, almost like 2 decades, and then suddenly now you're being told ki your name is not on the voter list, and some random dude from Delhi is coming and telling them.
Yeah.
It's really sad. So how bad is it according to you?
I think a lot of people will find out on the day of the poll when the Bihar election happens and they go to the booth and they stand in the queue to vote.
Oh wow.
That's when they will find out that their names are not there anymore. And it's not because there's some shady thing has happened, it's because the SIR has kicked them out. And it's really bad, I think, if you are in Simanchal, where
Hmm.
I was, where the districts have high Muslim population, and it also it's adjacent to West Bengal,
Yes.
right? So a lot of people there's a community of Muslim community there called Surjapuri, who speak the dialect of Bangla.
Hmm.
There's a community called the Sheshabadi Muslims, who are again Bangla speaking Muslims. तो वहाँ पे they are एक तरह से intersectional उनका problem है कि they are Bengalis, they are Muslims, and it was no surprise to me that when I went to a Bangla Muslim village, I found the highest number of people who were wrongfully excluded.
Hmm. Hmm.
That segment of the population, I think, will bear the worst brunt. I think Dalits, Mahadalits, because they are so crucial to the JDU, might be, there might be a lot of ways, including this Aadhaar judgment today,
Hmm.
get them back in.
Okay.
Um, but I would think the Muslims, especially the Bangla speaking Muslims, have it the worst.
Okay. And so you also, like in your video only, they show that you show migration, right? Basically, the EC's logic is that they are removing migrant workers. What was your sense on that?
They have removed migrant workers, but they are saying we are removing people who have permanently shifted. But the migrant workers they are removing have not permanently shifted.
They come back to vote.
They come back, yeah. And हर साल चुनाव मतलब पिछले 20 साल से चुनाव तो छठ पूजा के पास ही होता है, दिवाली के
Hmm.
पास होता है. तो लोग आते हैं गांव में, पंजाब से, दिल्ली से, हरियाणा से, एंड लोग वोट डालते हैं.
Hmm.
लेकिन अब लोग जैसे एक गांव में मैं गया एंड लॉट ऑफ बॉयज देयर गो टू पंजाब, राइट. नाउ देयर नेम्स हैव बीन किक्ड, डिलीटेड.
Hmm.
And of course, uske, I'm sure in the ECI ka official data, they have been counted as permanently shifted, right?
Hmm.
Or absent, whatever. 35 lakh, that's the biggest subcategory of deleted voters, right? Like they are not absent. They've gone out to work and they have not even permanently shifted. They'll come back. So that has also happened on a large scale.
And do you see any chance of these migrant voters going back on the list?
So there is one remedy that the ECI has. If you are out of the list, then you can file that form that everyone fills when you want to enroll a new voter, Form 6.
Form 6, yes, yes.
You have to file Form 6. Now, if they have filed Form 6 and they can do it even over WhatsApp, is what ECI is saying, then they
Oh,
can get in.
oh, you can
Yeah.
do that. Okay.
Yeah, in the very first affidavit that the ECI filed with Supreme Court on this case, it said कि WhatsApp पे भी हम ले सकते हैं migrant workers से Form 6. So if they send these documents on time, तब उनका नाम आ जाएगा. लेकिन जिस जिस राज्य में लोगों को गांव में यही नहीं पता कि उनका नाम नहीं है वोटर लिस्ट पे,
Hmm.
उनको ये पता होगा कि व्हाट्सएप से भेजूंगा मैं फॉर्म 6, या कौन सा फॉर्म डाउन मैं भेजूंगा, या वो फॉर्म मुझे कहाँ मिलेगा, किसको दूंगा. So I don't think a lot of people. I mean, on paper there is a remedy, but there is no general knowledge about the fact that this can be done, or any. I don't think this will be done either way, because even the BLOs who are supposed to lead this effort on the ground go to voters who have been excluded, make sure they file Form 6 if been wrongfully excluded. Do not know this. There's one BLO in one village I went to, and I asked him, "Ki, I found a lot of wrongfully excluded voters in your village. What will you do? Will you file Form 6 for them?" And he said, "Yeah, I filled the Form 6, and I submitted after September 1st." And I
Oh,
said, "September 1st तो आखिरी दिन है.
yeah.
उसके बाद तो खत्म हो जाएगा. उसके बाद नहीं फिल आप दे पाएंगे." तो नहीं सर, ओ देखिए, अब मुझे मालूम ही नहीं था, हम लोग को ट्रेनिंग ही नहीं दिया गया था इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में.
Wait, so basically there are people who will submit forms after Form 6, but then they won't be able to vote in this election anyway because they will not be in the list.
They will not be in the list. But fortunately, what again happened? Again, ECI backtracked on this, and it said even after September 1st, you can file a form.
Right, right,
Happened 2 days after I had this conversation.
right.
So,
Esther has a connected question here. She's asking, how will a migrant worker know he's not on the list?
so I mean, when you are in the village, in some villages I went to, after the people were deleted from the voter roll in the SIR, some officials from the local government came to their home and told them this,
Hmm.
that your name has been cut out and we'll make sure that we'll do something. But then the families told me that nothing really happened, at least till when I went 3 weeks ago. Nothing had happened to them. Migrant workers, matlab, if they're checking the ECI's draft roll, then they will know.
Yeah,
But I don't think that's what they're doing.
yeah.
So
Also, it's
I
very difficult, right? And So, there is layers to this, which is so bizarre because first they have to know that something like an SIR is happening to begin with. Because a lot of them might not be following the news or nobody else is telling them what is going on. And the second step would be, how do you find out if you exist on the list? Because once you have been on a voter roll and you have voted in previous elections, why would you assume otherwise, right? Like next election होने वाला है, हम जाके फिर से vote कर लेंगे. I think what you said, which is like a lot of people just find out on voting day, that's a very real possibility. I'm not sure if the situation has improved any more than what you are describing.
I don't think there are any signs. Things might get better because of this Aadhaar thing that has come up. But let's wait and see if the numbers go up.
Hmm.
Second thing is, listen, before we were covering 2024 ka election integrity stories, how many of us were talking about this anyway? How many of us were occupying ourselves with voter list? How
Yeah,
many of us could see a voter list and tell कि अच्छा ऐसे voter list होता है, इसका मतलब ये होता है, किसी को नहीं मालूम था, right?
right.
We delegate a lot of our basic stuff to the election commission because for a long time we trusted the election commission,
Correct.
right? अब only recently I think people have realized कि अच्छा वोटर लिस्ट में ये है वो है, तो जब एजुकेटेड इंडियंस जो और शहर में रह रहे हैं, इनके पास समय है ये सब करने का, उनको ही नहीं पता था एक साल तक कि वोटर लिस्ट क्या होता है, कैसे बनता है. तो जो लोग गांव में हैं, काम कर रहे हैं, दिन भर मजदूरी करते हैं, 12 घंटा 14 घंटा, उन्हें मतलब कैसे पता होगा.
True, true. And especially if you're a migrant worker, you're going to like Punjab or somewhere which is you're going to work there, and you come back during Chhat and after that there is voting, and then you find out that अबे हमारे स्टेट में ये सब हो गया, sort of a thing, right? Because as far as I know, like based on the videos I've seen and people I've spoken to, that young people all together go to work somewhere, like from an entire village all the young people are gone to who migrate to like a Punjab or a Delhi or a Haryana to work, so they will all come back and realize what has happened.
Yeah, yeah. Unless you have a village where there's a BLA who is a functional official of
Hmm.
whatever political party he is part of. Unless the BLAs at the ground are making sure that in villages where the boys have left to work out, I mean, then he reaches out to them, gets them to fill a form, send it
Correct.
over, and files it. I mean, again, theoretically, there are what 1.5 to 2 lakh BLAs in the whole
Hmm.
state. But
Are
I
the
don't.
BLAs helping? Like, did you see like BLAs of political parties active in this whole thing?
The funniest part is that I did not see BLAs as the people who were helping.
Oh,
The people who were helping are people at the panchayat level, the
okay.
ward members, the ward secretary, क्योंकि अगले साल बिहार में पंचायत इलेक्शन है.
Of course.
So a lot of people are, I mean, I'm are sort of positioning themselves as becoming the village favorite so that they win the panchayat seat,
Right.
get elected, and they are the ones who are helping out the people. So I think in that way there is at least one way of making sure that things have worked out. कि क्योंकि अगले साल चुनाव है, a lot of people are coming out, the ward members helping people in their village find their names, see if they have made it to the draft voter list or not, and then probably seek out help from the local BLO on their behalf.
Right. And so BLOs are the election commission people, BLAs are the party people, and election commission has been claiming that the BLAs are not helping at all or they are not filing complaints. Did you see instances of that, which is like they're trying to file complaints of exclusion, duplication, migration, like wrongful removal, anything of that sort?
No, I did not see anything.
Okay. Okay. And okay, final question. Again, choose not to answer, right? I'm just going to ask this. What is the trust level people have for the election commission and the election process in general, which you saw? Again, this
I
was before the voter adhikar yatra. I should point that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people, to a good extent, leave a lot of this to the election commission because they still trust the institution.
Okay.
जो शहरों में इंटरनेट पे एक तरह से कॉन्वर्सेशन है, वो अभी वहां पे नहीं हो वैसी बातें हो रही हैं. People are not not saying vote चोर गद्दी छोड़, for example.
Right.
Right? People are not talking about Rahul Gandhi's press conference of Mahadevpura, for example. So these things were not happening there then. In fact, the distrust is really in political players. You know, I went to a village where I think 22% of voters were gone. मतलब वहाँ पे
22%.
हाँ,
Huh.
something like that. Like I think there were 500 deletions in one village
Oh, okay.
easily. ठीक है? And then I started sort of looking at who are these people deleted. I went to the village and people there said कि हमारे गांव में पिछले 5 साल से वोटर लिस्ट पे फेक वोटर आ रहे हैं एंड आई वाज लाइक हाउ इज दैट पॉसिबल इज लाइक या मतलब हम हर जब भी रिवीजन होता है वोटर लिस्ट का तो हम फेक वोटर्स को डिलीट करवाते हैं लेकिन अगर हम 4 डिलीट करवाएं तो 16 और फेक आ जाते हैं उसमें
How though?
and I was very confused.
Huh.
So, and what the SIR has done is that it has completely taken out these fake voters from this voter list once and for all.
Okay.
Then I was asking them, ki, why do you think this is happening? You put in so much effort to get these voters out, and then they come in and they said, ki, our MLA, this is a problem since he has come to power.
Okay.
And but again, then what we did was we looked at because a lot of these voters started coming in before the Lok Sabha election. So I got a marked list of the vote of the booths
Hmm.
जिसपे जिसने वोट दिया है उसके नाम के आगे टिक होता
Oh,
है.
you found that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I found that and I compared and I found that none of the fake voters had voted.
Oh,
So
interesting. Okay.
हमारा theory ये है कि this village was the very booth number 1 of this constituency.
Right.
So sometimes maybe people come to the MLA and they say कि भाई हमें राशन चाहिए PM scheme में ये वो, but we don't have a ID or something. And what the MLA does is that he'll get you an ID, but if you get a voter ID, you have an epic, so that has to go somewhere in the voter list. और क्योंकि ये पहला बूथ था, तो सब इधर ही सब फेंक देते उधर कि ये सब वोटर
Oh,
डाल दो. Or it was something that was being done before the assembly elections. Who knows?
correct.
There were a lot of fake voters in this booth, around 300 to 400 of them, and they did not vote in the Lok Sabha election. So these are peculiar things you find when you're on the ground.
Hmm. That's very interesting, actually. I didn't think of this angle. Like, they need IDs. But also, like, okay, would you chalk off a lot of this to bureaucratic incompetence? Right? Because the way I'm looking at it, at least my running theory right now in my head, is that there is bureaucratic incompetence which is allowing things like this to happen, which is duplication, fake voters, whatever, fake voters, extra voters, voters that don't exist. And parties are taking advantage of it. Specifically, BJP is taking advantage of it. Do you see incompetence in the villages or in these areas? Bureaucratic incompetence.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that these voters made it to the voter list, right?
Yeah.
MLA can't put a voter on a voter list. It is the electoral registration officer,
Correct. ERO.
right?
Yes.
So he is constitutionally in charge of that voter list in that village.
And
If
ERO is responsible for how many booths exactly?
of one assembly, which is about 300 to 400 booths.
Right. Correct. Hmm.
Right? So the everything has to be cleared by the ERO. But what is the ERO doing? He's sleeping in the first booth of his constituency. इतना 300 400 वोटर फेक पड़ा हुआ है यहाँ पे. But of course, I think there is some sort of they are also complicit, but they are definitely incompetent.
Incompetent. Huh.
And the fact that people have been left out, an old woman in a village is being deleted from the voter list because the EC says that she has shifted permanently. She's 80 years old. She was born in that village. She has always voted in that village. How will she suddenly shift? And therefore, that's a ground for you to delete her. This is incompetence.
I mean, they do get paid 1,000 rupees a month to. So, incentive क्या ही है वहाँ पे? That is also a question that you should have. But okay, what about fake addresses? Right, this whole allegation Rahul Gandhi has made that there are fake people being registered on fake addresses, or एक घर में 80 लोग, 200 लोग. Did you see instances of that as well?
Yeah, in several villages I went to, this was quite common. 50 लोग, मतलब if there are 200 people on the voter list, 50 लोग एक घर में, house number 1, 50 लोग house number 2, 3 and 4.
Why though? Why does this happen?
Because there are no house numbers in these villages. I mean, if you go to someone and ask कि आपका घर नंबर क्या है, तो वो नहीं बता पाएंगे आपको कि आपका घर का नंबर क्या है. That's not something that happens in villages. It's something probably an urban phenomena. People don't have house numbers in the village. So what the BLO does, he just randomly assigns पहले 50 घर को 0, फिर 1 2 3 4, and I asked the ward member this, that you have 50 voters in one house, some of them are Hindu, some of them are Muslim, what's
Yeah.
going on, are they fake? And he said, no, this is just the BLOs doing, there are no house numbers, so he'll put anything, and none of these people are fake. ये मेरा पड़ोसी है यहाँ का, ये वहाँ का, he knew all these people.
Right.
So these were not fake voters.
And also, like, so I mean, so basically, Gyanesh Kumar also said the same thing, which is like, oh, they don't have any house number. But then who decides what is the house number you have to give? Like, so it's not house number 0, right? I mean, it's like they're supposed to give a notional number to every person living in a house. So it's like if 5 people live in a house which doesn't have a number, it will be N1. Then next 5 people N2, N3, N4, so on and so forth. Did you see any instances of that?
No, there's no such thing. I mean, ये सब चीजें ये लिखते हैं, लेकिन इसका ग्राउंड पे इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं होता. The BLO is putting 0 and 1 because BLO has 3 days to make the voter list of 5 villages, and he has no time for any of this.
Right.
और मतलब I know that if election commission has an electoral rolls manual, so उसमें एकदम प्रोसेस अच्छे से समझाया है कि ऐसे करें एकदम बारीकी में. लेकिन जब काम होने पे आता है और SIR में जिसमें which is so rushed, which has absolutely given no time, unprecedentedly, like 3 months, जब पहले 6 महीने में होता था, तो उसमें तो like it's even going to be worse, which is why you see stories like you saw at News Laundry that एक ही घर में 1000 पूरा एक
Yes.
बूथ एक घर में रह रहा है वगैरह. तो उधर BLO के पास नहीं समय होगा, उसने सब डाल दिया होगा. द ओनली प्रॉब्लम इज दैट दिस ओपन्स अप सो मच ग्राउंड फॉर मिसयूज. Now, if I am looking for a way to put a fake voter in a voter list, one of the metric I really do not have to worry about now is house number.
Yes.
Because
Exactly.
वो तो हम मान के ही चल रहे हैं कि वो खराब है सिस्टम. तो that is the one thing that even the
So
election
like
commission.
out of the 80 people, 70 might be real, but 10 ऐसे ही घुसा दिए वहाँ पे बीच में.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, chat has 2 questions for you here. One is about the gender-based bias, which Yogendra Yadav pointed out, that more women have been excluded than men, right? Why did that happen? Do you have any answers for that?
Actually, we were the very first. Scroll was the very first news platform to report that women have been deleted.
Correct.
More than that
Yeah,
was,
I think I covered it on my live stream also. Yeah.
yeah, and I think a lot of that can be pinned down to the fact that so I'm a woman and I'm born in a village, right? Now I have gone to another village after I get married, right? So in the village where I was born, it shows that I have permanently shifted, so I lose my vote.
Right.
A lot of women have lost their vote there, but before the SIR, I was also voting in the village I was born, and I was also voting in the village where I have moved to after I have 2 votes. So in the village I have gone to, I think a lot of people have been removed because it says already enrolled. तो यहाँ का वोट
Okay.
गया permanently shifted, यहाँ का वोट गया already enrolled. So that is something I saw. कि women who are married, especially women coming from outside the state, right? Now they can, one way they can be on the voter roll is they can show कि 2003 में their parents were on the voter roll.
Correct.
ठीक है, लेकिन 2003 वोटर लिस्ट तो सिर्फ अभी बिहार का आया है. दूसरे स्टेट से अगर मैं आया हूँ तो 2003 का वोटर लिस्ट कहाँ है?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. If you're coming from another state, you won't have that option also.
Yeah.
Right.
This they realized. I think this is one of those demonetization moments where the notes were not fitting into the ATM.
Right.
Which they realized too late. I think this also they've realized too late. Only recently they've started uploading other states का 2003 का electoral roll.
Oh my God. Okay, that makes so much sense. That's why so many women are excluded. Another thing that Disha is asking is Yogendra Yadav is anxious that 9.4 million voters will be removed from this whole process, right? Do you think it's that bad? Like, I mean, like, what election commission had said to people, which is the opposition members, was that 20% of the voters will just be removed. Do you think that's even possible?
I think 20% मतलब लोग डंडा लेके भागेंगे ज्ञानेश कुमार के पीछे.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a state like Bihar where these things are held very dearly, like your vote is very dear, I don't think they can do 20%. 9 lakh would be what? I think it would be 1%,
Something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
around 1%.
Hmm.
But I mean, if they are genuinely people who have died or shifted outside cities, then
I
maybe
think
nine.
Yogendra Yadav is saying 1 crore actually. Like he says that 65 lakh have already been removed and then it can increase to 1 to 1.2 crore or something,
Which is quite
which is
huge.
quite a huge number. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that have massive ramifications. I
Yeah.
don't think that will be taken lightly by anyone.
And also because I saw it in your video only where people keep saying that, oh, if my vote is removed, I will not get any benefits from the government. Like
Yeah,
ration is attached to it, Manrega is attached to it. So they
yeah,
genuinely believe that voter ID is where all this flows from. That's not true, but still they believe that that is where it comes from.
yeah, yeah. And I'm sure when they go to get their monthly ration, they when they have to show a proof and they don't have Aadhaar and all, they happily show voter ID.
Hmm.
And that way it has that symbolism. Ki, yeah, it keeps them alive.
Hmm.
Like literally keeps them alive. But 1 crore, I mean, I have not seen why, or what's the reason for his calculation, but that's a huge number. If they even allow 1 lakh more than 65 lakh, I think it's not going to look back on them. It's not going to look good on them.
Good on them, yeah.
It has to be less than the number of people they've already excluded.
Right.
After,
Right.
beyond that, it'll be a scandal.
Right. Okay, I have another set of questions for you, and because I want to go back a little bit to 2024, and I know you are one of those people who have been extensively following the violations that were done during 2024 elections. One of the things I keep saying on my channel is that because of this whole chori allegations and everything that is coming out, what you said that pehle bhi hota tha, but now people are actually looking at it and finding these errors, which is just making me so suspicious of what the election commission is doing. But then now, when I think back to 2024 or I look at your reports only, I'm like, holy shit, what was going on then, right? Have you had moments like this where the vote chori allegations have sort of like you've done a story and then it sort of changed the theory of what is really going on?
Yeah, I was very happy when this conversation picked up because we thought that, you know, of course, the series of stories we did in 2024 were serious and they were received well and they were read. But after an election, people move on and
Right.
you don't get come back to your stories. And I felt that the whole conversation was being dheere dheere, it's just drifted away.
Hmm.
But now that it has come back through this voter list question, I mean, it's great. I mean, so much of us know more than we did 2 months ago, right?
Right.
Like so many of us, like as a reporter, I have learned so much about the election commission and how it works, which I wish I had known before. And I hate myself that I was ignorant about it. But
Hmm.
my God, there is a whole system in place on how we vote, and I was so ignorant about some very basic things, which I think more and more people know. So I think if anything, that's one good thing that's come of it.
Yeah, and I fought an election, so I know now because I basically that was also my whole idea that I want to know what it takes for a candidate to become a like go on the ballot.
Right.
And of course now voting thing is happening. But one of the stories, a few of the stories that you have done, one was about voter suppression in UP. You want to tell people about that a little bit because I feel like that was a crazy story and it got lost completely.
So yeah, election integrity is a very broad spectrum when it comes to electoral
Yes,
malpractices.
yes.
Rahul Gandhi has just looked at voter addition, but
Right.
even when he finished his press conference, he said we are not talking about voter deletion yet, and we are
Correct.
definitely not talking about voter suppression. My stories from 2024 looked at voter suppression as in what not at what happens in the voter list, but what happens at the booth on the day of the vote.
Correct.
And it found like we found so many ways in which this thing we consider so sacred was defiled in constituencies like Farrukhabad, in Sambal, on the day people get out to vote, and these are villages which are dominantly Muslim, who have a history of voting for the Samajwadi Party. They stepped out to vote. They went to the booth, and there were these 10, 15 police cars, which pulls out of the polling in front of the polling booth. Police officer come out, they beat everyone up, take their voter information slips, ID, tear them apart, ask them to get lost. There are videos
Whoa.
of this. In Sambal, the MLA has shared videos of police officers doing this inside the booth. Okay. Um, actually the Sambal DM,
Hmm.
who was then tasked to investigate whether there was vote suppression or not, returned a report saying कि कुछ नहीं हुआ है यहाँ पे सब ठीक है.
Hmm.
And the DM, he is the son of Ganesh Kumar.
Oh
So
shit. Okay.
yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Ayush. Thank you. Yes.
His name is Manish Bansal. He's now the DM of Saharanpur.
Right.
And in Farooqabad, for the longest time, a lot of OBC voters there was seen as, at least since Modi came into the picture nationally, was seen to be voting towards for the BJP.
Hmm.
But I think at last in the 2024 election, the Samajwadi Party um, created a split.
Hmm.
S- A section of OBC voters were going to BJP and a section went to the India Alliance.
Hmm.
जहाँ पे इंडिया अलायंस वाले ओबीसी वोटर थे, उनका पोलिंग बूथ उनके गांव से निकाल के एनडीए वाले ओबीसी वोटर्स के गांव में लगा दिया. So basically, if this group that votes for the India Alliance has to go to this village to vote, and
Okay.
when these people went there to vote, they were not allowed to, and they were beaten, and there were people came out of the fields with machetes, and I went to these villages, and they were sent back. And when they went to the police said, "आप दो दो करके जाइए." Now you can't do that, right? You There is strength in numbers. So,
Right. Right.
like हम दो दो करके नहीं जाएंगे. So in village after village, people could not vote, and the BJP won Farooqabad by 2,600 votes. In
Oh
one village, I went.
shit.
In just one village, I went. 200 votes were suppressed alone.
Oh.
A whole constituency has thousands of villages, so you can imagine the scale of that, how big it could be. Uh,
When you tell me these stories, and even back then when I was thinking about it, it sounds a lot like booth capturing. Honestly, like I mean, earlier it was like ballot paper stuffing into booths. This is like a more sophisticated version of this, where the entire machinery is involved in this bizarre suppression. Like this is. I mean, see, what I also realize is that this kind of thing that you told me, right? One village, दूसरा village, booths change कर दिया. It
yeah.
requires so much thought. Like you can't even imagine something like this is happening until you see it with your own eyes.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many ways of fiddling,
Yeah.
bit by bit, building advantage for a certain player in an election. By doing this, by skewing the nomination stage, right? When Modi contested in Banaras last year, that seat has always had double-digit contenders.
Right.
2014 में 44 people contested. In 2019, it was in 20s. In 2024, it was just 7 people. And how
Right.
was that done? Because when a lot of the contenders went to the DM, the returning officer, to file their nomination, they were not told that they have to take an oath. Neither did the returning officer tell them they
Hmm.
have to take an oath. That's what they alleged. And when they came out on the day of the जिस दिन result आना था कि हमें पता चले कि हम have we been selected or not to run, they said it's been rejected. Sham Rangila के साथ यही हुआ था.
Yes. Yes.
And then the DM said कि you hadn't taken an oath. But yeah, you didn't tell me you had to take an oath. And so that process was skewed to have as less competition for Modi as possible.
Hmm.
Usme bhi he got 150,
Hmm.
150,
One
those
lakh 50. Yeah.
margin was. So there are so many, you change the booth, you don't, you skew the nomination process, you send police
I think
in.
one more story you had done was Surat, I believe, where like all the candidates just withdrew, and also Amit Shah's constituency, Gandhinagar,
Yeah.
where very less nominations were filed, and there were threats being given to people who were doing it.
Yeah, and he won by 5 or 6 lakh. But they just did that. I don't know why. Gujarat में ऐसा क्या एंटी कंबेंसी था, नहीं था, वो जीत ही गए सब कुछ. लेकिन they wanted to win all the seats, especially for him, with 10 lakh margin. This
Correct.
is just to have a huge margin.
Ego.
Yeah, you're not letting the democratic process in, and a lot of people were pressured. The BSV candidate for many days went AWOL. Like
Yeah.
his phone was switched off,
In
and
Gandhinagar, right?
in Gandhinagar.
Yeah.
The Congress candidate was not seen for a month after he withdrew. Then he comes back and he was sort of mobbed and all. But a lot of pressure was put on people to withdraw and not contest in very key seats.
Right. And one more story which I think you had broken also, and Akhilesh Yadav keeps tweeting even now, is that child, that Farukhabad child who voted
Eight times.
8 times. Election Commission has given a response. Please tell us that story which you did, and then the Election Commission response which came now.
I saw. I
Yeah.
saw. It was very strange. That boy, he is not very far from these villages where the votes were suppressed. By the way, 2 kilometers from these villages I just told you about. Same Farukhabad mein. This is, I think, a Thakur village,
Hmm.
and he live streams himself voting 8 times. And actually, on the day of the polling, no one found out, but uh, over the next week, people found out, and Akhilesh found out that this video existed. He shared it, and then there was a lot of bawal. And I called this father because he was been the sarpanch, and I said, "Ki, your son has been arrested. I've heard. What happened?" And he said, he was just helping these disabled people in our booth to go and vote because this election commission allows you to do this. I don't know if it allows you to take a video and all,
Yeah.
but he was helping all the disabled people go and vote. I said, it's a marvelous coincidence that all disabled people in your village want to vote for the BJP.
Yeah.
That was his story. At that point, election commission did not even say this.
Yeah.
What it did, it actually nicely went and conducted a repoll. वहाँ पे फिर से voting पर हुआ था, और that matter ended, and of course those 8 votes were not counted. Now election commission is saying basically what is the father's version, कि ये डिसेबल्ड लोगों
Oh.
का वोट देने गया था इसीलिए इसका हुआ है, उस समय ये नहीं बोला. So you can see the shift is that the BJP talking point has become the election commission talking point.
Right, right. Oh my God. Okay, so back then only you knew that this was the reasoning, but they didn't say this. They just repolled it and did this.
True.
Okay. Oh, wow, that's. I mean, one of the things is ठीक है, वो एक तो 16 साल का बच्चा है, like, even if you agree that he's going there, but you have to be an adult to do this, right? You have to be an adult, a plus 18 plus person to do even the thing that they were saying.
I think so, but I think yeah, I think you have to be an adult. That is one thing they considered, na. The wrong thing there was that they sent a minor in to do it. That was actually the only mistake. Everything else was fine.
Right.
That's what the CEO said.
Um, and the final thing, which you have also documented, is the election commission's behavior on hate mongering and speeches, right? Like they were being very selective about it. Tell us about that.
So after the day before results last year on 3rd of June, I was in the room with Rajiv Kumar in front of me, and just beside him, Gyanesh Kumar and Sukhbir Sandhu.
Right.
Zoom with these 3 men because they had done a press conference where they took very, very softball questions. So I had gone near the stage and shouted at them saying, Ki, you are doing first press conference after the election. During the election, they did not do any. How can you just take 7, 8 questions and leave? And so they said, okay, come meet us in the different room, etc. So I went and sat with them with 2 other journalists. And I got one question really because they were very much in a hurry. I asked Rajiv Kumar ki Modi said Muslims want to steal Mangal Sutra, Muslims want to steal your cows and whatnot. That they are people who reproduce more. Like what decision did you take कि तुम इस पे एक्शन लोगे या नहीं लोगे, और तुमने इसके बारे में डिसीजन लिया भी, डेलिबरेट भी किया. एंड ही सेड कि या वी deliberated on this and we decided that we will not touch the top 2 people in the BJP and the Congress. So they're like, हम अमित शाह और मोदी को कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे और हम राहुल और प्रियंका को कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे. And I was like, how does that even make sense? At that moment he got up and left. And
That was the reasoning they gave you. I think that is the reason they gave later also. I think you only like broke that story also, which is like, this is the reason that they're giving. But it's such a weird reason to give. Like, what is the logic behind this? Like, we will not touch the top 2 people of the party.
because they are responsible politicians, they should be allowed to introspect among themselves how they should conduct this. And who talks like this? who are you to talk about introspection, boss? You're the chief election commissioner. You have a law you have a rule book. What does the rule book say?
Hmm.
It does not say anything about letting off people two on your side, two on this side. And he was completely faffing.
Hmm.
And I'm surprised no one has gone to court, challenging all this. How can an election commissioner even say this?
Right.
That was his very bizarre logic.
Oh my God. Anything that I've missed which you want to talk about 2024 wise?
I think we've covered most of our stories. Yeah.
Right. And guys, I'll just leave a link below, which Ayush has done an entire thread on the instances of manipulation during 2024 election. Manipulation as in like shadiness, let's call it that way. So you can go and read his report. And Ayush, any other thing you want to promote? When is part 3 coming of your series?
I mean, parts will be out tomorrow, day after, but what I would like to say is that we are also working on some stories on the voter lists
Hmm.
and some voter lists which are outside Bihar. And I think we have some couple of couple of interesting findings that we want to share.
Hmm.
So yeah, keep an eye out for our byline. It's me, usually Ayush Tiwari or Aryan Mehta at Scroll, and we'll be working on a lot of these stories. Also, most importantly, after the voter list comes out in Bihar, which is on September 30th.
Yeah, September 30th, right. And also, last question, do you know what this hydrogen bomb is going to be?
I think someone I happen to know has given them a digitized electoral roll of Haryana.
Haryana.
Basically.
That's what the word is. And do you know when it is going to happen? Because I'm mad excited.
I have no idea.
No, you don't know.
No idea.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ayush. Thank you for talking to us and giving your time. And I hope you do better stories and much amazing work.
Thank you so much,
My
and it was
sentences are all over the place. Sorry, but yeah.
happens, yeah. Um, but thank you so much for having me, and I'll be on the other side in the next few videos. But yeah,
Yeah, Ayush is an avid watcher of the Make Nerd channel, which I'm very happy to know. So we will continue our parasocial relationship. Yes. Okay. Bye bye, Ayush.
bye.
Bye.